I think what was really heartening to see that in the general presentations by all actors is that education is really key for any kind of development. That means it is key for the global future development agenda and must be a very prominent part of it. There's consensus on that for the international community. There's clear evidence on why education should be prominent. Well, okay, first of all, we need to make a difference between the Millenium Development Goals, which actually do focus on primary education and access. And this had one goal in education, and then the education for all goals, for which there's 6, as you know, and they're much broader. And they also focus on other areas, including quality, which unfortunately wasn't picked up in the Millennium Development Goals. So that was actually one of the problems in the implementation of these sort of, if you like, almost parallel agendas, where one was very narrow, as was said, which led to also sort of limited funding for other areas. Now, countries, right from the start of the implementation of the EFA agenda and MDG agenda, said that they wanted to have a broader agenda which, you know, needed to go beyond primary education, including at least lower secondary education. And as we now see from hard data, which, you know, has been assembled by the Global Monitoring Report and others, even if children do go to school, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're learning. Now, that doesn't mean that this was not present in the agenda as it stands now, in particular the EFA goals, but it just wasn't implemented and not enough attention was paid to it. And that is the reason why the future agenda very much focuses or should focus on learning outcomes and on quality. So, you know, yes, we have to go beyond primary, we have to focus on quality, we have to focus on learning achievements by all children, youth and adults. So those things are very clear, plus we have to ensure that everybody has equitable access and participation in education, because on top of not having sufficient access and learning outcomes, there's a problem of equity. There is sort of a minimum of 9 years compulsory education. So, but if you look at education systems, very often that is then divided in primary education and lower secondary, whereas we would call that continuum, if you like, basic education. In our recommendations, we also recommend that this should be preceded by at least 1 year of pre-primary education to ensure that children are ready to go to school. Also, if possible, ensuring that countries provide early childhood care and education, which is even before that. So that would mean if we include this 1 year of pre-primary plus 9 years compulsory basic education, we come to a total of 10 years. That is strongly recommended by UNESCO as sort of, you know, the goal that every country should achieve for all.